Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Remainder Pilot. This is Marathon, Part 2. Let's begin. I've had to restart this a couple times, so yeah. Fair warning, my little bro's dog is with me out here in the game room where I do my videos, so if you hear any barking, sniffing, well, I don't think you'll hear sniffing. If you hear any drinking or chewing or anything like that, that's him. He's usually pretty chill about making noise and stuff, so. But if you hear any squeaking or whatever, that's him. Hopefully that won't happen. We'll see. Anyway, right back to it. Incoming message from Leela. The Marathon's automatic manufacturing systems have finished making replacement circuits. There are three circuits. Each should be in its manufacturing holding chamber. With luck, the alien viruses have not infiltrated the manufacturing systems, but even if they had, I would have no way of knowing. The attacks on my systems are growing more steady. If the counterattack is not able to remove some of the computer infiltrators, then I will eventually succumb. It is absolutely imperative that a counterattack begin as soon as possible. The Marathon is not defenseless, and we can't let it be taken without a fight. And message. This is where the circuits should be. Look in all of the receptacle lockers. There is a pattern buffer located next to your current location. I suggest that you use it immediately. That's the save station. After you have retrieved the circuits, return to the terminal at this location, and I will transport you to the defense center to install them. End transmission. Alright. Hopefully we don't get interrupted again. There's just been a lot happening tonight, so it just is what it is. This guy right here, by the way, is a wasp. As you can see, they spit, like, I don't know what they spit at you, but they're pretty easy to take care of. They do get kind of annoying in packs, though, and in some of these more narrow corridors and stuff, they can be kind of a problem. But apart from... Oh, shoes. Apart from them, that's pretty much the only new enemy you're going to see in this level. Everything else is pretty much stuff from the last level, or the last two levels, I should say. We're going to dispose of everything pretty quickly with a pistol. Nothing too crazy. This is the end terminal that she was talking about. If you activate it now, it'll give you different dialogue that says, oh, you need to finish this up. So, message from Leela. You must retrieve all three of the repair chips. There is no point in going to the defense center unless you have all three. Search until you have found them. End message. So, that just goes to show that there is a sense of, like, it knows if you've completed an objective or not. It doesn't happen in every single level, but there's some levels that'll allow it. Or that'll do that exception. We're going to go down here and kill some pfhor that are kind of just chilling out down here. This is one of the rooms that we're going to be going to for the chips. So, it's always a good idea to kind of get the jump on them. But, oh, by the way, cool switch. It's a lighting switch. Very neat little lighting effect. Slowly eliminates. I love that. That's just awesome. These are the pfhor from that other room. They can open doors, by the way. Pretty neat little thing. You don't see that in Doom. Well, not always, anyway. Anyway, we're gonna kill some aliens over here. I don't think there's a whole lot over here. That's where we need to go, but if you go over here, you can find like a health station and some ammo and stuff. Go over here, here's the health station. And the other stuff is on the other side here. If you missed the rifle, or if you're playing co-op and you lost your rifle, there's a rifle down here. That happens a lot in co-op, so it's kind of nice that they include it. But yeah, let's go ahead and go down there and get our chips. They aren't Doritos, that's for sure. There's a alien over here. No man left behind. This level's kind of a fun one, because there's a neat little terminal that we're going to be accessing later. It's also just a relatively simple scavenger hunt. It's just find the chips and get out. quite a few aliens to kill, so pretty fun. I think that's everything down here. I want to make sure everything was dead before I did anything else. This terminal will tell us that the automatic manufacturing system is delayed for some reason. All those numbered things in transfer. But it says transfer canceled, AMS transport system error, cause unknown. Transport materials on enter transfer counter. Message from Leela. I was afraid this would happen. You'll have to go to the manufacturing transport station to get the last circuit board. Collect the 2 circuit boards that were transferred and then go to the transport station. Take the elevator here and to access the main processor tunnel, and then you should find the 3rd chip intact on the transport station. The error was a failure of the final transporter conductor. End message. Oh, and it had like a intrusion thing or whatever, telling us where we're at. Anyway, before we go there though, we need to pick up our stuff. So if you open this up, that's what we're looking to pick up. These are the Defense Center repair chips that she was talking about. There are a lot of these lockers. These machines, by the way, are essentially like, I guess they basically transport like materials and stuff to like the crew and stuff. So kind of neat. I thought they were replicators at first, but I guess they're just lockers, so whatever. But you'll find ammo and stuff for guns and stuff in here, so pretty neat. Shh. Take it easy, bud. Dog's barking a little bit. Calm down, little buddy. I think my little bro's starting to leave, so. Poor little guy. his owner's been out and about, just busy lately, so hopefully he gets to hang out one of these days with him. But he's doing alright. Little bro's just got a lot going on, so. Anyway, we're gonna save before we go. Kill this wasp over here. And then she said that there's an elevator over here. We're going to take that. And oh, he's playing with his toy. Okay. Had me worried there for a minute. We're going to go up here, and this is where we're going to find that terminal that I was talking about. This terminal is kind of special because it's one of the more debated terminals in the series because of its meaning. It's very cryptic, and it tells a very interesting story. I personally kind of follow what Hidden Xperia and Mandalore Gaming have mentioned about it and stuff. Those are great YouTube channels for like Halo content and Marathon content as of right now. Definitely check them out if you're ever looking to hear about lore and just Halo news and stuff. I think Mandalore Gaming is a little more broad than just Halo Gaming and stuff like that, but he's got like a couple videos on Marathon, and he's got some videos on another Bungie project called Myth. The first 2 games that they have, or some of the... Wow, I cannot talk today. There's some of the early games that they made as well. A little bit after Marathon, I think. But they're very good at storytelling, so definitely worth a look-see. We might play a little bit of that later on. I think I have played a little bit of it before, but we might go into depth on that later on. But anyway, the terminal I'm talking about is in this hidden doorway here. This is a deprivation chamber. Nothing really special about that, apart from the fact that it might be where some experiments were done on some of the AI on the ship, namely Durandal, which is where the terminal kind of comes into play with its importance and stuff. I'm not going to go too in-depth on the terminal, but I might bring it up later on. Saying too much now might spoil the story. Cool thing about in here, there is a 3x shield regen here. Very rare early game, but it's here, so grab it while you can. We're going to grab this item here. Actually, first we're going to empty out our ammo and kind of reload everything. There's no dedicated reload button in this game, so You kind of have to waste ammo in order to reload, but you're going to want a full clip of everything here. So this right here is an invincibility power-up. What we're going to do is we're going to grab it, and we're going to grenade jump, and make our way up to this little teleporter over here. That would be this thing. And when we get here, there's going to be enemies, but we're invincible, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to go through these portals. There's 2 of them here. Don't go through that one. It'll teleport you back outside of the hidden door. You're going to go back, kill this guy, and this guy, and then you're going to go forward. And that will take you to this room, which has this terminal here. This is a very long terminal, by the way. It's like 7 pages long, so bear with me. This is probably going to be the longest part of the video, but it's worth it. Oh, and when you see your static flashing, that means your power-up's going out, so... Anyway, let's see if I can do this without butchering it too much. Alright, data transfer from Leela, host 39.59.19.21. Transfer Durandal, error unknown. Transfer Durandal, error unknown. Interior error. I believe, by the way, that's insinuating that Leela is trying to send this this text over to Durandal. So I think the idea is that this is supposed to be about Durandal as a whole, but it's a very cryptic story-based thing. So anyway, message received. Garrett White had been floating 6 feet off the floor for 3 weeks. His feet and hands tingled, and his eyes burned with the flames of a dying fire. He had last heard someone speak to him as the cell door slammed shut. He didn't remember what the uniformed man had said. The words had bounced off the bars of the cell and rang through Garrett's ears. Garrett had been talking to himself for the last few minutes. Something about getting caught. But then his ears began to tingle just like his hands. He looked at his hands, but the fire in his eyes made him blink. Tears came, and when he opened his eyes again, his hands had been melted into fleshy pancakes that wafted in the ripples flowing over the fire in his eyes. "Damn cell," he heard someone say. "Last time I had a good meal was 3 days ago. The food they feed you in here could kill a lab rat." Rats. He had remembered something about rats, but his ears began to ring again, and the voice speaking to him faded off into the background of his mind. In its place, there was a new sound, the clapping of hands together. He blinked hard to make out his hands. I think that's supposed to be to make out his hands again. They had disappeared, his arms connected at the wrists. He thought back to the time when he went ice skating on a pond. He remembered the sound of his skates on ice, a gentle scraping away now inside his ears, trying to tear down his thoughts. There had been a woman with a white fur tube over her hands. Her wrists were like his now, the wrists of someone who had tried too many times to clap his hands. He had been applauding everyone else in life, but never himself. The hands, like himself, had been put into prison, and he didn't know why. "Can't sleep in here. If the smell of the musty bedroll doesn't make you sick, then the sound of the rats chewing inside the walls will keep you up. You'll wake up from your dreams to their little chomping. Sometimes I think they are chewing me." The voice was coming from inside the cell, but Garrett couldn't see anyone. Garrett hadn't always been alone, but he could vaguely recall from somewhere inside his broken mind that there had been friends, lovers, and murderers. He recalled a theory he had come up with after a bloody schoolhouse brawl. The theory was simple. At some point in time, everyone was a murderer. Whether or not they had felt remorse, they had all wanted someone dead. Hatred, everyone knew the feeling of hatred. Garrett had known hatred on that schoolyard. His beater had laughed at their bloody faces, a laugh which now echoed through his ears, rhythmically blocking out the other voice in the cell. The schoolyard was usually a place where Garrett and his friends would play football or foursquare or something. But today, there was an edge. Maybe everyone had eaten cereal with milk that was about to go bad. Or maybe there was too much smoke in the air from the Wheeling Hubcap factory. Football had been extremely rough. Garrett had gone to play Foursquare after he got tackled by 5 boys who weren't his friends. But today, even Foursquare had an evil twist. The top square today had become habituated to making fun of the first square. Garrett had decided that it was an evil day. When his beater started to push him around, he exploded. Hatred flowed from his eyes. His hands and feet began to tingle. All of his coordination left him, and his face was beaten to a bloody mess. The schoolyard disciplinarian had been slow to notice the ensuing carnage, and she didn't really care anyway. Garrett would have killed him if he could have. He would have torn out the eyes of his beater. He would have made him pay for his abuses. But his hands had begun to tingle. He couldn't feel his feet, and he had begun to float off the ground. Everyone was a murderer, but Garrett couldn't remember his reason for why that was so. He thought it was something about hands, the passion for justice. His hands and feet had begun to tingle, and he was floating farther off the floor. He looked up from his hands, and he saw the bars of the cell moving left and right, opening wide and then closing shut, like the surf coming up a beach. Every time that he thought he would be safe, the bars crested up, the opening closing, the wave rising, crashing. The result would be the same. He would never escape. The bars would crush him, break his back. He could feel the roughness of the sand under his palms. For all the motion of the waves around him, his hands had to come to rest serenely upon the ocean floor. His body tossed and flipped, pivoting about his hands under which he could feel the safe, coarse sand. The wave crashed one final time. He landed upside down, his hands thrown clear from the sandy bottom, the rush of the water filling his ears, his nose, his mouth, the sound of crashing water cascading down from his feet to his head, penetrating his mind to tear down thoughts. Like the sand castle he had built to withstand the tide, his thoughts came down around him. Garrett had a good life. So much time, so much time. He had loved swimming, turning, beating. He had loved the tingle in his hands and feet, his inability to kill his nemesis. Once he had fallen down the stairs, and just for a moment, his hands came to rest on the carpet of the stairs. In that instant, his body had frozen, floating over the stairs, safe from falling. But the moment didn't last. The ocean crashed about him, his hands torn free from the sandy bottom, his body flipping, falling. Now he levitated farther up, his hands still tingling. He began to float through the bars. He expected the instant of safety as his hands found footing, but that moment did not come. The bars squeezed his body, his chest tingled. As he fell through his cage, his legs tingled. The fire in his eyes had become a cold wind. He blinked away tears. He tumbled through the bars, spinning and turning. He could see a man. In his hand he saw a small white rat, a pounding. The crashing waves in his ears became rhythmical, hard. The man was beating the rat against the floor, pounding. Blood covered his hands. The man's hands tingled. He had broken them on the floor of the cell. Disciplinarian, lover, murderer. Garrett looked back into the cell. He saw himself, disciplinarian, lover, murderer. He had killed his nemesis. The rat lay dead in his bloody hands. At last, he held the throat of his beater. He escaped into the waves. The waves. End message. Accept next message. Reply unknown. Okay, sorry. I probably butchered the absolute hell out of that, but that is a very, very long terminal that is pretty much known by the community as the Garrett White terminal. In terms of story, it has a lot of different meanings. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but I highly recommend looking it up on the Marathon story page. There's a lot of discussion on it. There's a lot of videos on it too, and people who read it way better than I did there. But I think the idea behind it is that it is a look into Durandal's mind, or some of the thoughts that he's been having regarding his thoughts on his situation, being an AI, something who is contained and not able to really break free from what he's been created to do. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that because this video is already like 20 minutes long, and we're only through this, or we're just about through this level. But yeah, we'll get into it more when we actually meet Durandal, because it'll make a lot more sense when we actually get to him. So anyway, that's a wasp flying by. Oh, he hit me too. Yeah, you can go back in here if you want. Obviously, it's not really a good idea because there's only one way out, and it's through that teleporter. And to get to that teleporter, you have to grenade jump your way up there. Well, you don't have invincibility, so you'll damage yourself every time. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the chip. We're going to talk to Leela here again. Warning, Core OS AFF plus 2D EB. Mod date later than current date time. There was nothing to be gained from hesitation now. Ed in her position, I don't know, that's a lot of gibberish. Would become something of consequence, though it was nothing more than a simple particular flower, or more precise, when she had it just so the room flickered and tore, bending into somewhere else. Blah, blah, blah. System error number 25 at Jackson, which she caused to be consumed by an ashless fire. Doors opened before her without cause, their locks rusted and shattered before her slender hands began to dance in front of her horrified face, before be turning into a fine powder which settled in a pile of where she had been standing 700 miles away, eyes on fire, tearing at her hair. Turning in fury, she kicks viciously. Anger made her careless, and she Okay, that was not Leela. I thought that was supposed to be a Leela terminal. That was a lot of gibberish. I'm sure that has meaning somewhere too, but we're not gonna find that out here today. We're gonna save again. And we're gonna wait for this to come down again. So this is where we need to go for the final repair chip. We need to go up one of these, and we need to hit a switch that will allow us to grab it, because right now it's behind a hidden doorway. Anyway, we're gonna fall down here, and that's where we need to go. So we don't have to go back to that one terminal downstairs. The terminal that we need to exit with is this one here. So, now we get back to Leela. Message from Leela. Good job. I received reports from some human security forces. They agree that the aliens are concentrating on their aft engineering section. On the aft engineering section. I would conjecture that they will try to shut down the Marathon's reactors. Your next mission will be to put the automatic defenses online. I will give you exact information when you arrive. Teleport room ready. End message. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport room ready. Let's do it. Cool artwork, by the way. Kind of cartoony. Later games would have Craig Mullins do most of the artwork, which looks much, much better. Anyway, also, about that Garrett White terminal that we read through earlier, if you're playing the Steam version of this game, that will give you the appropriate achievement for it. So, just fair warning. Anyway, incoming message from Leela. I received a preliminary report from some members of the science staff who have finished post-mortem examinations on 3 kinds of aliens. They report that by modern genealogical standards, the different aliens belong to different species. I have been collecting as much information as I can and will give you a report shortly. I have established contact with Durandal for the first time since the attack. He seems to have sustained less damage than I had previously suspected. Durandal reports that he has been in communication with the aliens. He says that the aliens behind the invasion call themselves the Four. and that the ones attacking the computer net are called Sfit. But he was reluctant to share the details of his communication, and I cannot understand this. The plot thickens. Your mission here is rather simple. You must insert the circuits in the defense control terminals. This is your current location. There is a shield recharge in the access control room. We won't need that for now. Here is a supply room with a large supply of ammunition and weapons. You should stop in this room. And this is the defense control center. Hopefully the new control circuits will work. Place one in the terminal at this location. This is where to place the second one. This is the final location. Good luck. Alright, and like she said, it's a pretty simple mission. I'll let you guys know when we get to a hard one. There is one coming up, but this one's pretty simple. So we're going to just clear out aliens and kind of go about this as good as we can. This is a cool room for another achievement too. If you go in this room, you'll notice that there's no doors. There's a hidden door to the left. For the achievement, you have to let this room crush you, because this room is slowly rising when you get inside. Kind of stupid, but I mean, if you're looking for achievements, that's one way to do it. But yeah, it will slowly crush you. It's slowly starting to rise now. The door is here. And that's pretty much that. If you played this as many times as I have at this point, or at least this level as many times as I have, this is pretty easy. So, a couple aliens up in the rafters there. In here, it looks dangerous, but I don't think it is for us. It's a couple more aliens to fight. Just gonna mercilessly slaughter them all. Little elevator here. I'm not 100% sure what's in here. Level's called Defend This, by the way. Alright. Oh yeah, this room's kind of difficult. It's really dark in here. The fire will, or the gunfire will light it up a little bit. But there's little 4 fighters up in the holes up here. I just take them out with a grenade because it's a little bit quicker. It's an expensive way to get rid of them, but it works. I don't think there's anything up in those. So I think... Oh, you can actually go up to them anyway, so it doesn't matter. Or maybe not, I don't know. Regardless, we don't need to go there. We just need to make our way through these hallways. Kind of trying to speed this up a little bit so this video doesn't become an hour long. It takes a while to upload some of these sometimes, so. Get some ammo from back here. There's a shield recharge station here if you need it, and a terminal apparently. And one of our spit buddies. Alright. Unauthorized access alarm. 2521. Security breached. Search heading rampancy. Search found 264995. Headings. Remove redundancies. File 1 of 1940237. So this is kind of something that will probably sound kind of familiar to Halo fans. So if you're in the Halo, you might want to listen up. It is a side effect of rampancy that AI generally become more aggressive and more difficult to affect by subterfuge. Thus, actually disassembling a rampant AI is quite dangerous. This was evident in the crash of Traxxas 4 in 2206. For those of you who have been following the new marathon, Traxxas is a very familiar name. I believe this might be part of their origins for the company that Traxxas makes up in the new game, but we'll see. By the time that the rampancy of Traxxas was detected, he had already infiltrated 5 of the other AIs on the Martian net. The only recourse for the Martians was to shut down the Martian planetary net. Even then, it took 2 full years to completely root out the damage that Traxxas had done, and the repercussions of the crash were seen for over 10 years after his rampancy had begun. We will talk more about the Martian people and Mars in general later on, because they're kind of an important part of the new marathon, and for the backstory, they have a lot of stake in what's going on here. So rampancy has been divided into 3 distinct stages. Each stage can take a different amount of time to develop. but the end result is a steady progression towards greater intellectual activity and an acceleration of destructive impulses. It is not clear whether these impulses are due to the growth of an AI's psyche. Wow, imagine if they did have physique. Of the AI's psyche, or simply a side effect of the new intellectual activity. Section abbreviated. The 3 stages were diagnosed shortly after the first rampancies were discovered on Earth in the latter part of the 21st century. The stages are titled after the primary emotional bent of the AI during each stage. They are melancholia, anger, and jealousy. In general, rampancy is accelerated by outside stimuli. This was discovered early in cybertronics. The more a rampant AI is harassed or threatened, the more rapidly it becomes dangerous. Thus, most rampants are dealt with in one mighty attack, in order to deny the AI time to grow or recover. Excuse me. There have been a few examples of this tactic not succeeding. In all of these cases, the rampant was never brought under control. Traxxas 4 is the most notable example. He was finally dealt with by a complete shutdown of his host net. Theoretically, testing rampancy should be easily accomplished in the laboratory, but in fact it has never successfully been attempted. The confinement of the laboratory makes it impossible for the developing rampant AI to survive. As the growing recursive programs expand with exponential vivacity, any limitation negatively hampers growth. Since rampant AIs need a planetary-sized network of computers in order to grow, it is not feasible to expect anyone to sacrifice a world web just to test a theory. In the 250 years since rampancy first appeared in the EarthNet, the stable rampant AI, the holy grail of cybertronics, has never come close to fruition. Since no rampant has ever been controlled or turned to any useful purpose, it is the opinion of this writer and of the majority of the cybertronic community that all rampant AIs are a danger to cyberlife, liberty, and the pursuit of thrashedness. James B. Miller, 2320, Life and Death of Intelligence. Unauthorized access alarm. Security breached. That was a mouthful too. Okay, so rampancy, you're going to start to see, plays a major role in this story. It is like basically the basis of everything that's happening right now. Remember our little buddy Durandal that Leela was talking about, who contacted the aliens and stuff? I can pretty much guarantee you probably already know where this story is probably going and who is being affected by that plot point. We'll get to him later, obviously, because we haven't met him yet. But it'll become pretty apparent when we do meet him that something is not right with Durandal. And a lot of the problems in this story stem from things that are going on with him. The story goes much deeper than just him, though. That's where Mars kind of comes into play here, too. So we'll, again, get to that when we get to it. Here's another terminal. Incoming message from Leela. I've summarized all the information that I have gathered on the aliens so far. Begin report number 495991. 4 are generally thinner and lighter than humans and are superbly adapted for low-gravity environments. Durandal told me that there are many clans of 4, each physically distinct from each other, but my summary only includes 2 of them. Only 2 clans of the 4 have been examined. The fighter carries a shock staff, which is capable of attacking at different settings. The trooper is armored for vacuum conditions and carries a combination explosive and impact projectile weapon, which is similar to your AR-75. The 4 seem to have enslaved a number of other races. The Hulk is an enormous and rather slow creature, but it is incredibly strong. The science report indicates that it had no body fat and therefore had to be fed often to keep it active. One crew member reported seeing one of these creatures pointing to itself and mumbling "Griniol" right before it picked up Johnny by the shirt and crushed him against a pillar. Yikes. The science staff had difficulty finding a good specimen of this fit or compiler to autopsy. The only specimen autopsied was almost completely destroyed. But it was obvious that the compilers are cyborgs of some kind. The biological component of the compiler is so closely linked to the machine that it could never survive without it. The compiler's actual body is very small, resembling closely a mammalian brain, except that the neurons are much finer and far more complex. End of report. End of message. So that's a little bit of a look into the aliens that we've been fighting. Nothing too crazy. Obviously the Spit is one of the more intriguing creatures that we're looking into. Also helps that they kind of become a major player in the story later on. The Hulks, though, or the Drinial, as they're actually supposed to be called, they are going to be seen in either the next mission or a mission after that. So here's one of our puzzles that we have to do. I never remember how to do this, so I just pop buttons until I'm able to squeeze through. Yeah, so it's a lot of opening and closing stuff, unfortunately. There we go. Oh, no, never mind. I'm just going to activate them all. I know that's probably not how they want you to do it, but there's a way to do it. I just don't remember how. Here we go. Oh, no! Let me through. I just want to beat the level. Please let me out. Ah, we did it. Okay. Good thing we never have to go back there. Everything that we need is in here, so we'll be fine. Hope y'all ready for another puzzle section, because it's right over here. We're gonna kill everything first, though. Oh, there wasn't a whole lot there at all. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and save here, and we're going to mess with switches. Again, these can be activated by punching and shooting them with grenades. We're just gonna flip the switch and hope for the best. Okay, that's kind of neat, I guess. I don't know what that did. Oh, wow, that was easy. We didn't even have to fiddle with the other ones. Hey, I'll take a win when I can get it. Honestly, I thought that would take a lot longer to do. But that's okay. We've got a much harder puzzle coming up, so be ready. So, there's going to be a couple areas in this game where you have crushers. I really should have saved, but whatever. Here's another message from Leela. You have not completed your mission. You must replace all the circuits. With every passing moment, the opportunity for us to counterattack is fading. So this is the exit terminal, which means we have to go through here and then back after we get all that stuff done. Oh, this is so much scarier than it looks. Oh, please don't let me get killed. Okay. I always get a little nervous with pressure rooms. Even in Doom, they're like a real pain in the ass, so. Anyway, we're gonna kill all these guys. Thank you. These are the things we need to hook up the defense repair chips to. There's gonna be monsters, or aliens in every single one of these, so get ready to kill them all. Luckily, they're in a really small confined area, so a lot of them can just get blown away by a grenade. And once the final chip is in, we can go ahead and leave this area and proceed to the next bit of story. Alright, I need to remember how to do this. So we go here. I'm just running for it. Okay, I think we did it. Well, let's go ahead and save real quick. I think we can... Yeah, we can totally save now. I could have saved earlier, but that's alright. Had a bit of a brain fart there. But yeah, we're gonna save here in case there's not like a save station after this level. There should be one. But some levels, they have the save station like way further away from the beginning, so helps to save as frequently as you can. Anyway, let's get out of here. Incoming message from Leela. Well done! I have detected defense drones activating all over the ship, even though we saw some earlier in the level. I should have pointed those out too. There were little floating guys that were shooting like machine guns at some of the aliens. Those are defense drones. Anyway, reports from security forces are jubilant. Now the four will encounter stiff resistance, and they will have to pay in blood for every move. The colony appears to be under attack. I detected 7 4 dropships entering the atmosphere only minutes ago. Trajectory analysis indicates that the ships were heading for the outskirts of the colony. Shortly thereafter, I lost communication with the colony. That'll come into play when the new marathon game comes up, so... Something has come to my attention. I will inform you after you teleport. Teleport now. End message. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport room ready. Ooh, somber music. Yikes. Alright, let's see if we can find, like... Oh, that's 4 trooper up there, by the way. They have machine guns and grenades, so they're kind of a problem. We're not going to play through this level today, because this video's like 40 minutes long. But we are going to see if we can find a save station real quick. I don't think there is one, so... Dang. I was really hoping to have one. Anyway, that just goes to show some levels don't start you off with a save station. That's fine. That's why we save beforehand. Obviously, this is kind of works as a sneak preview for tomorrow's video. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare to go through. So, very tight corridors, lots of mazes. Sorry, looking like a nightmare. The name's pretty fitting. But anyway, I'm going to end that here. Like I said, there's a lot of story, so these videos are going to take a lot of time, even though we're really only going through like 2 levels at a time. Feel kind of bad about that, because like realistically, if we just played through, this would probably be one of the faster games I play. Probably not Doom fast, but still pretty fast. But I want you guys to be able to experience the story that is playing out, and in order to do that, I have to read a butt ton of text. Y'all saw the Garrett White terminal. Y'all saw the Rampancy terminal. There's some that I think go even longer than that. But those two I think are the pretty big players in terms of storytelling. Background storytelling, I should say. But with that being said, this video's gone on long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, the games are free on Steam. They're also available on... there's like a web page. I'm drawing a blank. I'll put it in the description again. This will probably be the last video I do that for. Well, no, I'll probably just do it every video. So there'll be a video, or there'll be a description down below that'll have the links to the games, whether you want to get them on Steam or not. There's also the Marathon story page. I strongly recommend, again, that you check out the story page. If you want to delve more into the video. I also recommend looking into Hidden Xperia's marathon lore videos and stuff. I also recommend, what's his name? Mandalore Gaming. That's another really good one. He's got videos on each of the marathon games, including Pathways into Darkness and the Myth series, which may or may not be set in the same universe. I'm not 100% sure. But still, another great Bungie game. Totally recommend that one too. It's free as well. And then if you're looking to get into the newer marathons story and whatnot, check out Jake the Alright. He's pretty cool too. I've been listening to his ARG videos for like a while now, so it's been fun kind of learning what I wasn't able to pick up myself. But anyway, y'all take it easy. Have a great day, night, wherever you may be. Stay safe, and see you next time.